Hello, and welcome to Rock Your Block, where we outreach and highlight community impact. I'm your host, Larry Laws. On today's segment of First Home Alliance, we have a very special guest. It seems just like yesterday, she was running around fighting for her spot to play video games. If I wanted her to attack me, all I had to do is talk about her father. Yes, she's a daddy's girl. She never hesitated to defend her father. Now she's all grown up. She graduated from the University of Pittsburgh College of Business Administration, majored in accounting and business information systems. She is a certified public accountant and works as the risk assurance senior associate of a major firm in McLean, Virginia. She is the daughter of a proud United States Marine Corps veteran and one of my best friends, Richard Buffington, from my hometown, Camden, Arkansas. Please welcome to our show one of our newest and youngest first-time home buyers, Kendra Buffington. Hello, Kendra.
Hello.
How are you doing today?
I'm good. Good.
I'm so glad you came in here to spend some time with us on set.
Of course. Anything for you.
Right. Yes. Well, it's been a couple of months actually, but then it was a long period of time, being closed in. And, I've seen you grow. And so tell the audience a little bit about what you're doing now.
Yeah, so working, yes, of course, but I've been navigating, living with my parents currently, but also moving back into the real world, I guess you could say, into my condo, and just kind of, trying to get my grounds set up, and really just establish myself. I'm buying furniture, lots of it. It's expensive.
Yes.
It's just really kind of trying to navigate being a young adult.
Yes, well, that's great. Yeah, well, I've seen, throughout the years you've done some travel, some stateside travel. So where are some of the places you visit?
Yeah, well, not in the past year and a half, but prior to that, I guess statewide, you said, or stateside. Pennsylvania is probably the one I go to the most because I went to Pitt, you said.
Yes.
So I visit Pittsburgh a lot. A lot of my friends are still there. And with my job, I used to travel a lot all across because I worked with hotel clients.
Yes.
So California, I've been to Hawaii, I've been to New Orleans, I've been to Texas. All over for work, which has been nice, but not anymore.
Not anymore. Sort of stationary there.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. And so was this while you was in school? After school, did you travel abroad as well?
Yes, I actually traveled abroad for the first time. When was this? Right after I graduated, actually. It was kind of like a high school or college graduation present. My friends and I went to Europe. It was the first time I'd left the country.
Yes.
And we went to 5 countries in Europe. We went to London, Paris, Brussels, where else did we go? Amsterdam and Barcelona. It was great.
Yes. What would you say to some students or young adults that haven't went out of the country? What would you say about your experience? What could you tell them?
That's a good question. Do it is the first thing. I wish I had done it in college. I didn't study abroad in college because I was scared, honestly. I was afraid to. I didn't think I could. I didn't know what I would do in another country for 4 months. It just seemed way too long. I wish I had done it. I say it all the time.
So you was there for 4 months?
No. If I had studied abroad in college, I would have been.
Yes.
But because I didn't study abroad and I had to go on my own dime after college, I was there for 2 weeks.
You understand an own dime, right?
I wish I did it in college. Yeah, so I was there for 2 weeks. After graduating, it was incredible. I would say do all the things that you don't think you'll do is my best advice. Like there were so many little events and things that you can do that I was like, oh, I don't know about this. Do all the things that you're afraid to do.
Yes.
Because
now,
it's
did
so
you
fun.
drive overseas? Did you attempt to drive?
I did not. That was a good question. I was like, did I drive? No, I did not. I rode a bike.
Okay.
I did not drive, no. Because also where we were at, the steering wheel's on the other side of the car.
Yes.
And I would not have known how to do that.
It would have been an adventure. You should try.
I couldn't have done that.
Yes.
No, I've never driven abroad. Yeah, now that you say that, I have not.
Okay.
No.
Did you travel with your father while he was in the military?
I did, but I was a baby, so
Okay.
I don't really remember it, unfortunately. I was born in Illinois, and
Okay.
then we went to Hawaii after
Okay.
that, which I don't remember. And then we came to Virginia, so I only got the short end of it.
Yes, yes. And so I see you're still very active.
Yeah.
Yes, and so physical fitness, that seemed to be a
Yeah.
part of your life.
Yeah.
Yes.
It-
How
it
did you
is.
get into that, or is that just genetic?
You bring up my dad before,
Yes,
and my
yes.
dad is how I got into it.
Okay.
When I was in high school, my dad made me sign up for weightlifting.
Okay.
Which, as you can imagine, was like all guys, like the football players, and then it was like 2 girls in the class.
Okay.
It was me and this other girl whose dad was in the army.
Yes.
Both of
And
our
you being
dads,
a
I guess.
Marine daughter, I'm quite sure you used to, yeah,
I obviously
pick on the
was-
Army, right?
I obviously
Yes,
was
yes,
stronger
yes.
than her too.
Oh, you did.
Of course, right?
I don't know.
But my dad really like pushed for me to
Okay.
start working out in a non-traditional. I played soccer, but
Mm-hmm.
he pushed me to start working out in a non-traditional like way, not just going to soccer practice, like actually doing something.
Yes.
So I first started weightlifting in high school, and I haven't stopped.
Okay, that's
I love
why,
it.
That's why you have no problem pushing the guys off. Yes.
Exactly.
That's what push-ups are
Exactly.
for, you know? It's not just pushing up, it's pushing away.
Yes.
Yes, yes. And so you spent your dad, your mom challenged me, and I hesitate a little bit.
And she won,
Oh,
if you recall.
you didn't have to mention that.
She did.
Yes, well, I challenged her, but she beat me, you
She
know?
did.
Yes,
She
she
did.
did. Yes, she won't let me live that down.
Because she's a Marine also, you know that.
Oh, yeah, that's why. Okay. Yeah. Well, I appreciate, you and your family. You've been actually coming out to our events, since a little toddler all the way
Yeah.
up. Yes. And so you've been there for our annual event. So I've seen you dress up.
Yeah.
I actually seen you act like a Marine as well. Because
It's in my blood.
Yes, I know. I know. Put you on the guard of a door. Where's your ticket? You know?
I did pretty good at that.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Yes. So you know how to stand your ground.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great thing for both your mom and father. And also, you did a lot of events, our volunteer events, where
Yeah.
you mentioned about the walk-in and the mile challenge
Yeah.
and things of that sort. So really appreciate you coming out, supporting us.
Yeah, it's been
Yes.
great all the years. You've had so
Yes.
many events over the years, and I was at the ones when I was little, but that was probably against my will because I was a toddler. But as I got older,
Yes.
and I got to choose to come to them, they've been great. It's been really great to come to everything that you always put on.
Yes, well, it's been great to see you grow, as a child, but also growing as an adult, and growing in the financial arena, and not only the field that you picked, in business and accounting, but also now, you're moving into a space that not all youth your age are moving into. So I really appreciate you doing that, and that's that comes out, a lot of the genes in the family came up. Yes. So
Can't argue with that.
yeah. Well, tell us a little bit about the job. What do you do?
Yeah, so I work for PwC, PricewaterhouseCoopers. They're one of the big 4 accounting firms, and offices in Tysons are moving to DC recently. But I do audit and internal audit.
Okay.
So in the risk assurance world, which is what my title is, we focus on Sarbanes-Oxley compliance. So it's pretty much just going into our clients, making sure that they have a control environment that is set up and also functioning properly, so that we give them kind of an assurance ahead of time of the external auditors coming in and then actually performing the audit. So we kind of serve as like the first line of defense to make sure your controls are set up, they're properly functioning, everything looks good, and then help them when the external auditors come in.
Okay. And so you mentioned at one time you was able to travel. So
Yeah.
that was in the job,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yes. And so what happened with that? You got promoted?
COVID happened.
COVID. Okay. Okay.
That's what happened. So
Okay.
with my with the clients that I worked on, I worked primarily on clients in the hospitality and real estate space.
Okay.
So that's why I kind of got to travel, is because a lot of my clients are in the hospitality, travel agency, that kind of thing. So I got to go around and actually do field audits at their sites.
Okay.
And that really only stopped because of COVID.
Because of COVID.
Because
Okay.
of COVID. But
Yes.
interestingly enough, I think even with things wherever they're at now, and even if we come out of this on the other side, I think that that's all different now, because we've learned over the
We learn
past
different
year and a
things,
half
yes.
year that we don't actually have to go there now to
Yes.
do our job. So I think that kind of travel to go to the sites is probably no more, but it was really great to do it.
Yes. Yes. It reminded me a little bit, being, deploying out to different places to do whatever the job may be.
Yeah.
And so, but you have actually received a couple of promotions since you've been there as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I have.
Yes.
So at PwC, it's generally a pretty standard progression. So you'll be at an associate, you usually start in an associate role, you'll be there for 3 years, and then you move to senior role in 3 years, and so on and so forth. But of course, like, that's not always just like the standard how it is. If you really shine, you can, do a 2-year promotion or something like that. So I did get promoted to senior associate, which has been really great.
Probably conducting yourself like a Marine.
The best, right?
Well, I don't know about that, but they do stand out.
For good
It's
cause.
the shiny buttons. That's all it is. Shiny
all it
buttons.
is, right?
That's it. Yes.
Yeah, it's been great. Being a senior with comes more responsibility, I will
Yes,
say.
most
Definitely more responsibility, but it's been great.
Yes, well, that's good.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad to see you grow as a profession, and also to reach these higher heights in your life. So I'm really,
Thank you.
really proud of you.
With you there every step of the way, right?
Oh yeah, I'm there. Well, you're our poster child. So lead the way. Hey, Kendra, we're going to take a break. And before we take this break, I would like to remind our audience that First Home Alliance is a HUD-approved housing counseling agency. If you're a first-time home buyer, a renter, or homeowner seeking housing stability assistance, please visit the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development website to find a HUD-approved agency in your area. We'll be right back after the break. Stay tuned.
Okay, so through First Home Alliance, I worked with Charlene, and it was such a great experience. She's so nice. I knew her previously just from working and volunteering with First Home Alliance, but she made me so comfortable throughout the entire experience. She has so much knowledge, and I could tell she really supported me and believed in me, and so it was a really great experience, and I'm happy to work with her. My parents moved into our house, and I met Miss Tracy, she's my next door neighbor, and always welcomed me into her home. Always very lovely and very nice to our family. And of course, when I decided to buy a home, she was the easy first choice. She made it so easy, so painless. She knows everything. She knows her stuff. She made me feel very comfortable, and I'm very happy that I chose her.
Very, very seamless. She's absolutely wonderful. Always positive. Wonderful. I wish every client could be a Kendra Buffington.
Welcome back. You're watching Rock Your Block, and I'm your host, Larry Laws of First Home Alliance. And if you're just now tuning in, we're joined today with our first-time home buyer, Kendra Buffington. Kendra, before the break, was talking about the great work that you're doing in the field, and those promotions, and you shining on the job. I remember actually I was talking to your dad, and so I'm about financial fitness and housing and things like that. Your dad actually purchased a home. He said, "Larry, is that what you do?" He said, "Well, when we started having conversations," he said, like that, he said, "Well, next time I buy a house, then we're going to talk. And when my kids buy a house, they're going to talk to you." And so he made it a point. He got a chance to purchase, not that he needed any coaching or anything, just have the conversation. And so he mentioned, I think, saying that, yes, you're going to buy a home. We don't believe in them renting them forever, once the jobs are stable and the kids are out of school and things like that. I said, "Well, do you think Kendra need to sit down and have a conversation about savings and planning and things like that?" He said, "I don't know if she need a detailed conversation." He said, "She's got quite a bit." He gave me a figure. Like, didn't she just start working 2 years ago?
I'm frugal.
Yes, yes, wow. He said, "No, you don't need to talk to Uncle Larry about saving, because it seemed like you're well on your way." And so he mentioned that it'll be a little while, but you were looking at purchasing, and then also heard before that you had moved out and started doing some things on your own.
Yeah.
Yes, and matter of fact, that's some of the financial literacy classes that we've been running since COVID too. Every Thursday, we have financial literacy class, financial capabilities, and we're talking about moving out on your own, savings and things like that. And so first, you moved towards home ownership, but how did you decide to start now?
Yeah, so I had a little hiccup, I'll tell you that.
Okay.
A hiccup in the process. I moved out, just as you were saying, and I moved into my friend's condo, actually.
Okay.
And the purpose of that originally was to cut my commute, because commuting from Woodbridge to Tysons was just too much every day. Then COVID happened right after I moved. So then I was like, well, I'm moving back home. And then I moved back home, and then I realized, okay, well, my next step is what? Do I move back in with my friends after this is over, or do I buy something? And so I was like, I'll buy something. And that's how I got to the decision to do it. It really just seemed right for me. I knew that I wasn't going to stay with my parents forever, but it didn't make sense for me to transition back into renting something with a friend when I could put that same money, less money even, into a mortgage. So I made the decision, had none of the facts, but made the decision. And then I think my dad afterwards was like, help her, because he doesn't know what she's doing. And then that's when I came to you.
Yes, well, we appreciate you reaching out. We was there waiting for you. When you knew that you're ready. And you came in a situation and you went through the intake process. And then you talked to our housing counselor, and it's like, Kendra is more than ready. I can't really believe, being at the not so young in age, but still early in your career. Usually it's at least 2 years of steady employment, a similar work field before a person began to get qualified for a mortgage. And so you went far along, and you had substantial, what we call capability, and you had the capital. And the collateral of the property. And of course, you did shopping. And so going through that process, and then you talk to a counselor, which is more like a mentor, just there to mentor you through the process. And did you talk to a loan officer before the realtor, or the realtor before the loan officer?
I talked to Realtor first.
Okay.
Yes, Realtor first. And so her name is Tracy.
Okay.
She was my neighbor at my parents' I was gonna say my parents' house, where I currently live. She was our next door neighbor there, and so that's how I met her. I've known her since I was 12. And when I decided, that was obviously the next step was who should I go to for Realtor? And my parents were like, obviously Tracy's the best choice, And so I contacted her, and it was actually a full circle moment. Because like I said, I've known her since I was 12 when my parents moved there, and it was just interesting for her to take me through that process. And when she met me, I was running around on the playground. So it was really cool to have her get to see that next step in my life. But she was the first person I went to, and I will say the reason is because just so you were kind of talking about I had a lot of the things in place that were needed to buy a house, but I didn't know that I had any of those things in place. I had no knowledge of the process. I just had the things, I guess. So I didn't know I needed to talk to a loan officer. So I was like, okay, a realtor, that's all you do. And then I talked to her, and then she was like, you need a loan officer.
You need a loan officer.
And then I was like, oh, how do I do that? So it was a lot of, I had a network of people who helped me for sure.
Well, you built that team, and you already had some members. You have a family member to guide you to a counselor. You had a realtor, so it's good to already have some members of the team. And then they actually put the other members of that team together.
Exactly.
And you did the homework. The hard portion is getting financially stable and ready. Prepared to do that. And you didn't come from you say that you made some hiccups, but you didn't have a damaged area in reference to the credit. It wasn't damaged that you had to go through some type of 12 months of repair before you qualified. And so once you got your team, the home purchase team, we know what you qualified for, and you actually qualified for one of the good loans. That's gonna, over the life of the loan, you're gonna spend a lot less on interest and things of that sort because you qualify for a conventional loan. And so not every first-time home buyers, especially youths at that time, can qualify for that, maybe the capacity, or they just don't have the credit to do that. And so you was able to do that. And so with that, you went shopping for a house. How was that process?
Well, I picked one of the worst times to shop for a house. I'm sure you know, it is a seller's market right now. So it was very stressful. And not in terms of the people I had around me and my team. I had a great housing counselor, I had a great loan officer, a great real estate agent. All of that was great. The market was tough. And so it was stressful because everything that I saw would go so quickly, or it was going way over asking price. You had to waive contingencies, and it was just a lot for it to be my first time experience. But I said all that to say I had a great team. And so because I had a great team, I got it done. They got it done. We got it done. Everyone got it done. And it was really rewarding in the end because it was so difficult. I think I appreciated it that much more because it was it was a little challenging process.
Yes, yes. I mean, it is a competitive market, and
Yeah.
you ended up you're inside the belt, in the metropolitan area. Most buyers at that stage, you can say maturity or whatever, that stage and age are moving further south because they're not competitive inside the
Yeah.
market here, and so you did a very excellent job on that. Now, how did you end up in the location, the place that you found your place? How did you end up there?
Yeah, so I'll start by saying I ended up buying in Alexandria, and I'm close to like where Landmark Mall used to be, kind of over near the highway.
Yes.
So I thought I was going to be on the water. That's what I wanted. That was another part of me being very naive in the process, is that I didn't realize how much that cost. So I thought I was going to be on the water, overlooking the water. I was like, this is perfect. This is where I'm going to live.
Really?
And then I looked and I was like, that's not where I'm going to live. So then I ended up a little bit further out.
Look at your wallet, right?
Exactly. I saved, but not that much.
Right.
So I ended up a little bit further out. But I love the area. And the reason I picked that area is because my parents are probably a 30-minute drive south. My job is probably a 25-minute drive north. So it was a really great central location for me to be. I knew I didn't want to go much further south just because I know that I'm probably going to be working up in the DC area, and just traffic, I don't like it. So I knew that I wanted to be around that area, and I'm familiar with that area. I used to live in Arlington, so it's very familiar to me. And it was an easy decision to make sure that
That's good.
I was close to home, but not too far away from my job.
Yes, well, that's great. Yeah, and so yours is unique. One is, again, with a young buyer, conventional loan, but you also did a thing called rent back, which is different. A lot of individuals think that when you purchase a home, you have to move into it right away. But you was able to, whatever the reason was, whether it was your choice or the seller's choice, the most benefit to do that. But you was able to purchase the home and then move in at a later date.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's actually funny because when I was searching, I didn't know what that was because I never bought a house before and I'd never heard of it, and I don't remember my parents ever doing that, so I'd never heard of it. But it was interesting enough, actually, that the majority of the places I saw, the sellers were actually requesting rent backs.
Yes.
Because a lot of them were also looking for homes, and because of the market, it's difficult, so they wanted that kind of flexibility. So I heard it at a lot of the places I went to. They were saying, can we do a rent back? And for me, it was perfect because I was living at home with my parents. So I was like, that's fine.
Why not get the free rent
Exactly.
at home for a while?
So it was nice. It was actually really nice.
Free
And
rent
I
at home,
actually
and
do
this person paying your rent.
Exactly.
Helping you with your first mortgage payment. Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
And I think it actually did, I will say in the end, kind of give me a little bit of an advantage because some of the places that I saw, the sellers didn't really know the time that they needed to rent back. Like some of them were building a house, and that can be, you never really know when it's going to finish. So they would say we don't know how long we need to rent back. And for me, that was okay.
Yes.
But for a lot of buyers, I'm sure that they need, like a deadline if they had a lease or something like that. So.
Yes. And so could you tell us the favorite room? What's your favorite room in the house?
Currently, it's the master bathroom.
Okay.
That's because it's the only thing that's renovated.
Okay.
Everything else, I shouldn't say only that's renovated, but everything else needs a little bit of upgrading.
Yes.
So the master bathroom is fully redone, all brand new appliances. It's so nice in comparison to everything else. So it's my favorite right now.
Yes.
But I'm working through renovation, so everything else will then be up to speed.
All right. Well, Kendra, I really enjoyed talking to you today, and you taking the invite to come out and talk to us about your experience. Yes, and so I want to put an invitation out there for you to come to some of our audiences and talk to some of the other potential first-time home buyers about your journey.
I would love that.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
All right. I hope you enjoyed this interview with one of our newest and youngest first-time home buyers, Kendra Buffington. She's our poster child and one of our ambassadors. Attend our community outreach events and you may see her in person. Now it is time to check our inbox. This is where how we can show you how we can rock your block. This is where we share recent questions sent to us from you, our viewing audience, and we talk about financial fitness and housing. Today's question comes from Falls Church, Virginia. How much earnest money deposit should I put down on my real estate purchase offer? This is a good question, and it comes to us often. Currently, we're in a seller's market, and to be competitive, you need a well-represented and thought-out process to get through the real estate transaction. Remember, cash is king, but more importantly, I recommend you attend a first-time home buyer class and start early in the process of building your home buyer team. Entering a real estate transaction without representation is just like going on trial without a lawyer. I'm Larry Laws of First Home Alliance, and it's been my pleasure sharing with you our mission and highlighting the impact of our services. If you have questions about financial fitness, housing stability, or how we can help you make your dream of homeownership a success, send your question to our inbox at help@firsthomealliance.org. And tune in to our next show to see if your question was selected to be shared with our audience. You can easily get more information about our services by visiting us on the web at firsthomealliance.org. Thank you for watching today's segment of First Home Alliance, and join us next time to rock your block.
Glad to know that, some of this stuff about credit, buying houses is written down somewhere. A lot of the times it's always hearsay, like other friends or family members who have bought houses before, but they can never, tell you legit what you need to get done and do before buying a house.
I definitely think this class should be required for all first home buyers because a lot of times the real estate agent doesn't explain the process to you. So I think this is very important.
It's from the credit up to receiving a loan, and the most important thing is the process that you go through when you're buying the house, and there are a lot of process which you don't have idea about that before you take this class.
Speakers who came up and spoke about each section, they were very knowledgeable in their field, and I felt like it was relatable. They didn't just throw out a whole bunch of terms that went over my head, but they really explained it in a way to where I understood it, and I could even explain it to my children, and it was even easier for me to take home and kind of remember and process and apply to my next steps. The process was amazing.
They start first with the class before even finding a lender or agent. So I did all that and I wasn't able to purchase, and then I was like, oh, you know what, there's a lot of information I'm not aware of. Let me just start from the beginning, to put everything on hold. Start from
Piecing the information together, because you've heard things about the loans and about this and about the credit, but this is like a summary, and it just gives a clear flow of where to go with what you have and kind of building up a plan. So that kind of gives me a whole picture of where I needed to go and how to get there.